Hello, this is Dr. Hassan Abdullah with the course Web Applications Programming. And the topic which we are covering is SQL or Structured Query Language. And this is topic number 7 in the list of topics. And the subtopic is 7b. So in this topic, we will be looking at the basic commands, okay, which are basically the select and the where clause. Provides full text search, basic and advanced, and you can search for the topics or the material of your interest. And if there is any visual disability, the user can set the font size, the color, the line spacing, the type of font to facilitate, to maximize. And the content is displayed and is presented in a nested hierarchical fashion in a manner, and that helps facilitate. For example, you have the bullets, then you have the summary, then you have the explanation of the bullets, and then you have the references and diagrams if needed. And of course, there are online exams also to practice to know what you have learned, and the system also identifies the weaknesses, and the system tracks your progress so you know what you have covered, what you have not covered. And of course, it is uh, beneficial, and it has been optimized to work on small devices also like smartphones, their alignment and everything. So this is all explained in these 6 videos, and these videos are available at this URL, or you can go to YouTube and type my name, Dr. Hassan Abdullah, and it'll take you to my official YouTube channel where these videos are available. And the approach of this course is maximizing upon the question and answer based approach, which is very proactive and which is very engaging, okay, and it promotes thinking. And of course, it also capitalizes on the traditional approach where data and facts are presented. So it's the best of the both worlds, which I've explained in the previous slide. So these are the topics which are covered in this course, and we are at topic number 7, which is SQL programming, okay. And this topic is explained in the form of questions and answers. So this is the list of topics, and we can see that we are at topic number 7. Now this topic number 7 has 20 concepts in the form of questions and answers. So as the color coding shows, the first 5 is in 7a, the next 5 are in 7b, then the next 5 are in 7c, and the last are in 7d. And now we move on to the supplemental website, and there we will look at each of these concepts in the form of questions and answers. So we are at the supplemental website, and in the supplemental website we have these 6 videos which I mentioned, okay. So I would strongly urge you to look at these videos because they will help you make the most out of this supplemental website. So now we go on and start with the topic and the subject of our interest. So we go on to web applications programming, and we are moving to SQL programming, okay. And on SQL programming, the first 5 Q&A which was already been covered in lecture 7a. So we move on to the next set of 5 Q&A, which is lecture 7b. Okay, so explain the working of MySQL select command. Now what this statement means is that MySQL is a relational database, okay, and MySQL has SQL running on it, which is the structured query language, and in within that structured query language is the select command. So this question and answer is about using that select command. So what we'll discuss in this Q&A is the basic syntax of the select command. What is included in the select command? So for example, select column names, or asterisk from is the table name, and then there are other clauses also. So we'll discuss at the basic syntax of, because this command is used a lot, probably the most frequently used command of SQL. And then we'll also talk about selecting specific columns. So one is the option is that you select asterisk, select all the columns. The other is that you just make specific selections of not of all the columns. All columns I've already mentioned. Using where clause with the select. Where is the condition? For example, show me only those records for which CV is 1 or CV is 0 or salary is greater than this or less than this. When then is the order by clause. Order by clause, basically what it does is that how the results are displayed in ascending order, descending order, based on a single column or multiple columns. And then is the group by clause, how the results are grouped together. So if you have if you say, for example, have students of different majors, and you would like to know how many majors of different types, so then is a group by clause, group by the major, which will count and display that this major has that many students and so on. And using the join with select, so basically you retrieve data simultaneously by comparing two tables and so on. So this will become clear to you. All right, so this is the select command. Basic syntax is select column 1, column 2, so on. From this is the reserved word table name, right? Then of course you can have specific column, select the name, select the age, and of course other attributes also. Selecting all columns, you can do a select asterisk from employees, so all the columns will be selected. And select name and age as before. From employees, reserved word, where is the condition? Age greater than 30. It can be greater than 30, it can be greater than equal to 30 also, or less than equal to, or not equal to. This is very interesting, not equal to. Okay, and order by clause, select name, age from employee, order by age, ascending. ASC is ascending. Then is the DESC, which is descending. Using group by clauses, select department, count asterisk. So that select the department, count asterisk, count the rows, okay, and from employees, group by department. So grouping by the department, and it will give you the number also. Using the join with the select. So select employees name, department name from employees. So this is the employees table, okay. And then what you are saying, a join on departments on the employees dot department ID is the department dot ID, right? So what you are doing here is, so what it does is that it gets the employee names along with the department names, okay? Employee name and the department name, all right? And the join departments, join is you match the department IDs, right? So this gives a comprehensive result. So what is the SQL where clause? Explain working and give example. So purpose of the where clause is it acts like a filter, all right? And it is very straightforward syntax and the basic structure. And you can have logical operators like and, or not to make more powerful conditions. And there can be comparison operators like equal, greater than, less than, equal to. And it can be used with different SQL commands. So select, we'll show you. Update is say for example, update update the salary by say 20% if the sales was more than this amount. So that's an update. Delete is that you of course delete certain things, and it is very practical one. I'll show you the examples also. So where clause is a critical component, okay, and it has wide range of comparison operators. You can have these operators, you can have pattern matching like, okay, and the range check between this and this, and the inclusion check in. So list, so this is very powerful. And when you do the examples, it becomes simple to understand. So select asterisk from student where grade is greater than 80. So you'd like to know which student have scored more than 80. And basically it performs filtering, right? And queuing and specify and filter out. It's a very powerful thing. So what is this basic syntax? Select column 1, column 2, and so on from table name where is the condition. So these conditions can be logical operators also. For example, select asterisk, select all the columns from the orders table where status is equal to shipped. This is a string match. Remember string match, and total is greater than 100. So only those results will be displayed which are shipped and the total is greater than 100. If the total is less than 100, those records are not going to be displayed. Then is the comparison operator. Select all the columns asterisk from employee where age is greater than equal to 30, greater than and equal to 30. And then is use different SQL command, update, delete with them. For example, update products set price is equal to price into 0.9, so basically giving a discount of 10%, where category is equal to books. Remember, it's a string, so place the quotes there. And and of course delete from users where last login was less than this. So this is the date field. This is not a text field, this is a date field. So the users who have not been active, those are being deleted. Now one has to be very careful running these programs, running this not these commands, especially the delete command and update command. What I would highly recommend is that one should not run these commands on the live system, but these commands should be run on a separate system and on a subset of rows, and check that the results are as you are expecting them to be, because otherwise it may be very difficult to restore, because there is no there may not be any backup at all. One has to be very careful, okay? And because it has to be done very safely. Okay, so a real world example involves filtering student records by grade and attendance. So from students where grade is greater than 75, attendance greater than 90, select is safe. Okay, because but update and delete are they has to be done very very carefully. And the power of the where clause is that it allows you to selectively go through all the data and dissect it, so to say. So the working of the MySQL aggregate commands. Aggregate commands are very powerful and they are very useful, but one needs to understand how they work. So introduction to the SQL aggregate functions. So and of course aggregate is like counting or summing also. And common SQL aggregate functions I'll show you. A group by aggregate function, having clause. Having clause is similar to the where clause, but when it is executed, when it is used. And aggregate with null values. So with the most widely used aggregate functions include, let me highlight them for you. This is the count. Count is used a lot. Count asterisk, sum asterisk. Average is not very frequently used, depends upon the domain, of course. In a certain domain it may be very frequent use. And min and max, they are all aggregate clauses, okay? And the having clause is used to filter after applying aggregate functions, as opposed to the where clause. So having is after applying the aggregate function. So let me clear this. Okay, so so that you have to be careful while using the aggregate clause, because if you're not careful, you might think it's not running, it's not working, but it does work, and there's no issue with it. So these are some of the common aggregate SQL functions. There can be more also. You can create the combination also. So group by clause, looking at the salary. So select department, okay, average salary of the from employee, group by department. So this is going to give you the average salary in that department. Okay, for group statistics. And having clause in aggregate function, function after the grouping has been done. After the grouping, select department, some salary, and of course you can some salary you can assign a name to this results also. Some salary too, okay. From employees, group by department, having some salary greater than 100,000. So there's having is used. Okay, so aggregate with null values. SQL aggregate function handle null values. Count ignores null values when counting the rows. Okay, min and max consider null values, right? So this can be useful under certain scenarios. Okay, how does SQL count command works? It's very simple. So purpose of the why would you use the count command? I'll explain it to you. Basic syntax. And what is the purpose of using count asterisk versus count and the column name? Usually count asterisk is used, which counts all the rows. Count with the where clause and some example. So let's look at it. So count command is used very frequently, and it can count the records based upon whether they are null or they are not null. Okay, and it can be in different context also, and the counting can be done based upon distinct ID also. Okay, so this is it depends upon how we write that command. So this is a very simple one. For example, select count asterisk. Basically, it's saying that count all the records from the orders table where status is delivered. Okay, so this is very useful, and it can perform summarization, and it can uh, free us from manual work also, and which is also shown in the examples, which is in topic number 15 also, where we would like to do a lot of counting, and depending upon the, of course, the application. So this is the basic syntax of the count. Select count asterisk from table name, okay, which will count all the rows, and it will also include the null values also. And because if we looked at asterisk, now if we say a column name, right, and this version only counts non-null values. Okay, so this has its own application domain, and using count asterisk versus count column name, basically counting null versus counting non-null values. So select count email from users. Of course, the users whose email field is null, they are not counted. And count with the where clause. So you can make it more powerful, counting all the rows which contain the null values also, where the status was cancelled. Okay, so this is very useful. And then you can, of course, do a group by clause also. So select department, count. I can also say count as a column name also, which is a fictitious column name. Should not be a reserved word. Select department count as this from employees group by department. So what it's going to do is that it's going to tell me that how many employees are in each department, because we are assuming that every row in the department table is an employee. Okay, so we can have a count with group by also, and this is very interesting practical example. How many books were published after the year 2000? So count them, right? And if you would like to see the books by author also, to select author, count asterisk, okay, from books, group by author. So this is going to tell us that how many books were published by these authors. So let's look at a trivial join here. So what is a trivial join, and working of a trivial join, I'll show you. So basically we are looking at two tables, right? And at the column at the common attributes. And before I explain it, the bullets, let's look at the. So trivial join is like the Cartesian product. Okay. Cartesian, what is the Cartesian product? Means that every row from one table is paired with every other row of the other table. Okay, and basically it can happen when on or where clauses are omitted. I'll show you. So say for example, if we have two tables, first table has 10 rows and the second has 5 rows, so the Cartesian product is their product. So we result have 50 rows. 10 into 5 is 50. Alright, so let's look at more of it. So working out the trivial join, so how the two tables should relate is omitted. Okay. And what is the purpose? The purpose is that you can use for generating combinations of data. But the thing is that it is going to generate a lot of data, and most of it may be unnecessary. So what's going to happen is going to make the server busy and degrade the performance. So one has to be careful about it. What is the purpose of it? So select asterisk from employees is the table and the department table, and this is going to result in a Cartesian product. Why? Because there is no condition. Okay. So this row of one row of this combined with all the rows, second row with all the rows, right? So this will be a Cartesian product, and of course it can be more resource intensive. If instead of one table, I'm sorry, two tables, there are three tables, so that can be more resource intensive. So we have 10 into 550, and we have three locations, so 150. So that's it. So this can cause degradation in performance and product of two or more tables, right? High memory consumption, slow execution. So if you want to know more about it, here are some references. So with this, we end the second part of the of SQL programming, part B.